Everybody got drinks here?
Everybody's got drinks.
All right.
Right.
Grab your favorite drink. Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle because you are about to experience Moving Metal, the show. Today's episode is powered by things we've not heard about yet. And yeah, we're all hopped up on Mountain Dew. So, if you're afraid of falling down the stairs backwards because there's no handrail and you're just ready for some great information, stay tuned. You guys ready to start the show?
All right, let's go.
Welcome to the Moving Metal Show.
Welcome.
Episode 1, 1.2, whatever you want to call it. First off, thank you two for being here. We are guestless today, but I think there might be some advantage to that. Because I think what I want to do today is explore the minds of Mr. Brandon Prokupek, owner-operator of Power Max Motorsports, and Mr. Christian Engel, sales manager of Power Max Taylorsville. So,
Don't put me on the spot, bro.
appreciate you guys being here. Thank you again. Round 2 or round 1, depending on when you're seeing this. So we don't have a specific topic today, but I think what I want to do, and it's something that you talked about, or that we talked about in Taylorsville yesterday, is like, well, the show's called Moving Metal, so why don't we talk about the moments that move metal? What are they? What do they look like? How do you get better at them? We all know that November was no fun.
Maybe no fun November.
If look,
That's the wrong button. That's also the wrong button.
No fun November. No.
This is the one.
No fun November.
That's it. Get it right.
hey, look, if you're listening to this and you had a great November, props to you, because I'm telling you,
You killed it.
It was
wasn't great,
rough,
man. It
man.
wasn't great.
What
It wasn't
happened?
great. So why don't we start there? Why don't we talk about what it's like in a month where things aren't great, man? Because I think that's where we're at in a lot of
100%.
places. And so why don't, Christian, I'd like to start with you. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your experience in November and how it differed? Because it was, for us, let's just be honest here, it was the worst month we've had since we'd taken over the store. And so why don't we talk about how that was different than maybe some of our other months? Or
Well, we come off a huge October.
correct, yeah. So
Yeah.
like,
So it
how
was
did-
like, here.
crash. We need a crash button.
We kind of have a little bit of one.
It's close
I mean, it's not like a car wreck, but
Yeah.
kind
It's
of.
close enough. It's close enough. So
Similar.
why don't you tell us about November, what you experienced, and like how it was different than maybe some of your. I'm not asking for a comparison to the best month because that's very black and white. But like, give me some of the gray area. Like, all right, how is this different from a moment where we know it's not great, but it's also not what we experienced in November.
So let's start here. So to put a very clear light on what made November challenging for us is there was a group of buyers that very quickly left the market, and
Which buyer?
the midstream mid-income buyer.
So upper to middle class, relatively good income, or relatively
Financeable
good
credit.
Yep.
Not top tier, not bottom tier, middle tier customers, which we had primarily made our bread and butter on. So the months that we had done, in the 7 months, all of the good months that we had a lot of mid-tier buyers that were able to get financed, that weren't coming in, didn't have the funds to write a check, but then had the credit that they could finance and had, the wisdom to make a decision and get what they wanted to have. So that mid-tier buyer, and I would say that goes for all industry, is the majority of your bread and butter, right? So if that buyer just decides to leave the market, you got some decisions you got to make really quickly. Also, I would say that overall, just talking about November, the marketing strategy that we changed, that we proved is absolutely baller because we figured out how to target a specific group of people very well.
Can you elaborate? I think this is good info. Can you go ahead and elaborate on what we chose to do in November? And why?
So, layman's terms, in essence, to make our product seem more attainable, we put together marketing that made everybody feel like that they could own a new Defender, a new side-by-side, a new whatever it was.
ATV, whatever.
Sea-Doo, whatever it is. We made everything seem more attainable. Well, we did such a good job of it that we brought customers in that we're not at the point that they should be purchasing anything, and we're almost overwhelmed with those customers. So inevitably, being that we don't have a BDC department, we don't have people that are specifically dedicated to assaulting a multitude of leads, it became slightly overwhelming.
You had 600 plus, like 690 web leads.
591 web leads.
Yeah, almost 600, almost 600 web
yeah.
leads. When you got 600 web leads coming in with 2 salespeople and a sales manager that's a finance manager,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. You know, I mean, to put this in reference, I'm used to a car dealership that's got 20 salespeople bringing in 1,500 leads, right?
Yeah.
And that's a car dealership that does 120 to 150 cars a month. So you put those numbers in perspective, and it was like the floodgate. It's like the dam broke, right? So did we prove a point? Yes, we can bring those customers in. And if you're a lender listening to this and you have a great subprime program, please let us know. Because
we got plenty of buyers.
we could have maxed your annual spend
100%.
for whatever debt you allocate to that program in November. So hit us up. But that's in essence what happened in November, and I think all 3 of the Power Max stores saw a very similar thing. That you were either coming in to buy because you could write us a check for the unit or the units, or you were on the bottom side of that list where you were praying that you could get financed, and whatever we told you we got you approved on is what you were going to leave with. So the mid-tier customer just vanished. And I would say, I bet somebody out there is saying, holy shit, that's exactly what I saw.
That's exactly what I saw.
Yeah. So to answer your question, that was the difference in November versus 6 previous months.
Yeah.
Essentially every month.
Yeah.
6 previous months, we had mid-tier customers, and we kill with mid-tier customers because we can provide them a product in not only the product, but in an experience and in a finance experience and in a coverage experience that they love. We're really good at that.
Yeah.
I would say we're also really good with that with the top tier customers as well. The difference is there's always less top tier customers than there are.
Well, and there's less units that are desirable to the top tier customer.
Correct. Inventory becomes a restraint.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a case for everybody is obviously inventory restraint. Like if we had 100 Defenders or
Defender Limiteds,
we could sell 100.
100 Defender Limiteds.
And I think
100%.
everybody would agree with that. All right. So this mid-tier customer that we're talking about, one of the things that we discuss is that like this mid-tier customer moves the market, right? So like wherever the mid-tier customer is where the market's at.
That's right.
And
Let's say they are the market.
They are the market.
They are the market, right?
Because you have three different types of customers, right? You have your top tier customers, you have your mid tier customers, and you have your low credit, low income customers.
And it's probably what 15%, 60%, right? So that would make sense. That
You know what? I would challenge you on that though. I think that is 100% controlled by the lenders. Because I promise you,
has a lot to do with it.
I promise you, if there were a lender out there, and we might find them, but if there were a lender out there that we just stumbled across that had a program where we could get a 525 bought on a $15,000 note, then I bet that percentage is very much changed. I bet that low percentage is probably in the 30% range. Yeah. And then I bet it picks up that much.
So you're saying like it's probably 30, 60, 10.
Correct.
Yeah.
In terms of the percentile.
Yes, I think that's very realistic.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, there's probably half of our mid tier that is low tier. You know what I mean? Like from 60 to 30, that makes a lot of sense. And so, you may move this. I'm trying to get comfy. I'm sorry, guys.
Audio.
We're still new. All right. Okay. So November sucked. Excuse my language. Hey. So now I want to switch gears and go.
Hey, but listen, I heard from one of our reps that November didn't suck for everybody.
Agreed.
So if you didn't have a sucky November and you got some stuff that you want to add, please let us know.
Big ups to you.
Yeah, big ups to
for
you.
real.
Great job.
And
let
gotta
us
like
know
and
what
comment.
you did.
I can attest to that. Again, you know, I talk to a lot of them throughout the month, and I would say maybe of our 30, we probably had 10 down, 10 even, 10 up.
Roughly. Up is a relative term.
Great way to measure your actual up. I think 5-year moving average plus 5% should be your goal.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a way to set goals, that's a great way to do it. Shout out to some of our dealers who do that. If you're watching this, you know who you are. Big ups to you. All right. So rather than sitting here talking about, well, shit, you know.
Yeah, so what did we learn?
Exactly.
What did we learn from this?
And this is where I want to get your perspective is like, all right, well, what did we learn? And then how does a month like this show us what we need to lean into? And I think specifically going back to the marketing side, like if you're wondering if your leads are the problem, they're not the problem. And we just proved that by pushing 600 leads. Now,
then that does show the leads are the problem. If you're not pushing the right leads, that's the whole strategy that we changed up.
Yeah.
Is we changed our target so that we can drive more of the leads that are going to convert.
Correct. So like
not more leads that are not going to convert, more that are.
Let me put this into perspective from a marketing aspect. It's like we chose to go after that 30%, that bottom 30%. We want to make the product attainable, so we ran a bunch of ads around payments as low as on essentially
good credit, bad credit, anybody can get bought.
It's an automotive style of marketing, and we knew what we.
But we don't have the lenders for it.
Correct.
We don't.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
So we did this, and guess what? It worked.
Right. But if you think back to 2008, 9, 10, 11, there was demand for the product. The reality is that the banks weren't buying the people that wanted to buy. So go ahead.
What does that tell you about 2025? Or maybe even 2026?
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
But do we? Because we have historical data what happened after 2020 or 2008. I don't
That's what happened.
I don't like to be
dealers went out of business.
Yeah, I don't like to be narcissistic or pessimistic, but
we have to think about that.
Yeah, it's It's considering reality.
It's not when is it going to happen, not if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen.
Right.
Because will it be as bad? Probably not. But is it coming? Are the worst days ahead of us? Maybe. And as operators, that's what we have to think about.
Hey, look, if you've got a struggling dealership and you're looking to get out, why don't you give us a call?
Brandon Prokupek 23@gmail.com.
You're going to get some spam emails for sure.
That's fine.
Like my good friend
all
say,
of our 7 listeners will call in.
Yeah.
Hey, look, if you're one of the 7 men, I need you to know we appreciate you.
Yeah. It's like we've got disciples.
But I think we should all slow down and think about, okay, as we're going into 2026, what are the strategies that we need to have to make sure that we're successful? Because the reality is there are still buyers. And like I've told you guys before, we sat through a presentation with an executive from Fifth Third Bank that was an economist, and he told us that the top 10% of earners spend 50% of the GDP. So if the top 10% of earners spend 50% of the GDP, who do we need to target?
Well, we need to go the opposite way of what we just went.
Exactly, because we went for the bottom tier, and they can't get bought. But we need the people that write checks.
Exactly, and
they're out there.
Boom.
I have a perspective on that, and maybe I'll give it now. It's like, all right, so from a marketing perspective, how do we appeal to that top 10%?
The premier buyer.
Correct. Okay, so what does that mean in your messaging, though? Like, what should you be... Like, I know what we do, and I know that it works, but I want your opinion on, like, how do we appeal to that top 10%?
So let's talk.
You're part of the top 10%, Christian. What do you think?
You are, brother.
One day, good sir. Well, here's what I'll say. So I think the number one thing that we forget about is as salespeople, right? Because whether you're an owner, an operator, a salesperson, and this is going to hit pretty hard. the number one thing that we forget about is that we are the people that we sell to.
100%.
That's the number one thing. And here's why I feel that way. Is if I were going to buy a unit, I'm an idea guy, right? Like you guys know, I love to think about something and say, what if we did it this way? Or what if this was the idea? Or what if we said it like that? You know, like as a sales leader for a long time and somebody that is kind of prided myself on thinking out of the box and thinking differently. The scary thing about thinking differently is if you think differently enough, you disconnect. Because the reality is they don't say, and people don't always preach get out of the box because everybody's out of the box. The majority of people are in a box. So what you have to do is figure out how to make your message and what you're doing reasonable to all the people that are inside of a certain box. That's what makes levels of buyers different from one another.
Okay.
The person that's in the mid-tier doesn't like the same marketing that the person that's at the top does.
You were losing me, but now I see what you're saying.
Right? The person that's at the bottom doesn't relate to the person at the top, right?
Correct.
They're saying they're that guy that says, "Oh, yeah."
But if right now in our situation, the person that's in the middle is saying, I'm going to hold off and wait and see what happens. I'm not sure what the job report's going to say. I'm not sure what the stock market's going to do. I'm not sure what the interest rates are going to do. So I'm just not going to do anything. Because I tell you what, I was looking at buying a new car, but I'm not going to buy a new car right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So if that's the reality for the rest of the population, how do you appeal to those people to encourage them to buy right now? Because we all need somebody to buy right now.
Well,
right? The biggest thing in the dealership is what can we do today?
Well, how can you instill confidence? This is a great kind of segue. Like, how do you instill confidence into a buyer when we're in a market that is full of uncertainty?
Well,
I think if we could figure that out, we wouldn't be filming this podcast right now.
If anybody's got the answer,
We'd
let
be
us
on
know.
our jet,
So-
on our yacht. We'd be hanging it out, bro.
Let's talk about a different market that will share a very different light to that question. What happens with the real estate market? Who dictates the real estate market? We all know this.
Zillow.
No, it's the lenders.
It's the lenders, man.
The lenders dictate
And it's the
real
people
estate
with
market,
the cash to write a check.
right? You know what happens? And I had a conversation very recently with a very good realtor friend that I have that I've known for a long time that's been in real estate for a long time, pre-08. So has a very has a very long period of time that they've based their knowledge off of. And that person told me exactly this. It doesn't matter what happens to real estate. It matters what happens to lenders.
True. True.
And they're in real estate. Real estate is their baby. They don't make money off lenders. They make money off real estate. Air quotes. We're not in a very different industry. So my question and what I propose as a challenge to everybody that's listening to this, if we were to say, what would our industry be like without lenders? How would we market? How would we try to sell to people if we couldn't say? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, we've gotten real lazy in this way. Offers as low as 1.99. You should buy now.
0% for 60 months.
Are we giving the money for 199?
No.
A lender is. Are we giving a $2,000 rebate?
Nope.
No. A manufacturer is. So my question is if we take our support away and we say, hey, we're the people on the front line. We hold the gun. We're attacking the enemy, right? Not that that's maybe a great analogy, but my point is,
this listener, yes, it is.
Is if we are the people that are on the front line and our support goes away, do we go away? Or do we figure out how to sell before lenders? Because guess what happened? Manufacturers created manufacturer programs. Yeah. Lenders created lender programs. But you know what happens because of legislation? Dealers create their own freaking programs. If I want to say, this is how I'm going to present a product, and I'm doing it within legal means, That's what I'm going to do. That's the difference between people that are successful through a recession and somebody like my friend that was able to say, you know what, I know it's '08 and everything's crashing and people are losing their houses and nobody's buying homes, but I'm able to stay in real estate because I'm going to target these people that know how to do this. So this all wraps up in, end of the day, it is very easy to become a doom and gloom person when you say, well, what happens when we don't have lender support? What happens when we can't get the low end bought? What happens whenever the banks won't approve anybody? It's very easy to do that because it's been also very easy to say, yeah, no problem, Mr. Customer, you qualify for 0%. Yeah, no problem, Mr. Customer, you qualify for $3,000 in rebate. So when the industry changes and the people that hold the keys to those decisions say, we're no longer going to make those decisions, we're going to have a decision to make. Do we close the doors and say we can no longer do what we're going to do? Or do we take what we know and apply it to what we know? And that's people. So for people that are not worried about, people in this industry that are not worried about, number one, understanding who their customer is, that is where your one focus should be. Because no matter how this goes, if you understand your customer, you will win.
So yes, agreed. But when I hear that, that's a very like I know people, but how do we put that into practice? You know, like what are the AKA moments that move metal within that, like that a dealer can take and put into, is it experience? Is it being the premier? Is it having the largest inventory? Like
it's definitely not having the largest inventory because
No.
you have the largest inventory. I'm sorry, guys,
You're done.
but you're done. You're done. You're done. It's not working out very well for you right now.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
you guys get what I'm saying though. It's like, all right, let's just pretend that the lender turned the keys, and turned it off.
Goes away.
And the manufacturer said, you know what? Why are we giving rebate? Turn it off.
Yep.
How does a dealer present themselves as?
Okay, there's a finite set of those buyers in any market, just like what we talked about. So in order to do that, you have to steal deals. Unfortunately, I hate if we're talking to one of our competitors or somebody that's a competitor with somebody else, but the reality is you have to steal deals.
How do you steal deals?
You make yourself stand out. You train your salespeople to sell on experience. And the premier, I mean, if I'm a buyer of a high-end piece of equipment, the number one thing that I'm looking for is not the best price. I want a fair deal, right?
You want to feel like you won.
I want to feel like I want to feel like I'm important. I want to feel like I won, and I want to feel like that the experience I had was better than anywhere else that I could go to buy this same exact machine.
Do you know the one thing that a buyer's never said?
Tell me.
Ever?
What's that?
The experience cost me this.
Ooh. No, they did not. You can't clap yourself, dog.
Yes, you can.
You don't have the soundboard.
I'm trying to hit the boo button. I don't have a boo button over here.
The reason I say that is because to everything, and it was kind of long-winded what my point was, but the summary of that point is if you're not willing to do the things that the successful dealerships are willing to do in this period that we're going into, then you will not be successful.
It's not going to change.
And the successful people in 2008, guess what? No, not everybody went bankrupt in 2008.
No,
facts.
you're right. Facts. They did not. They either had deep pockets, which is a luxury, or they had a better experience. They had a better process. They had better follow-up.
Better people.
They had better people.
And in addition, not or, and in addition to that, they were willing to do things other people were not willing to do.
100%.
And maybe that's all
there's-
those things you're talking about, the experience, the people. Here's a great example.
How many dealers in 2008, 9, 10, 11 just said, well, it's just the economy. It's a bad economy. Nobody's buying anything, so we can't sell anything.
Here's a better example. How many dealers said, I got a gym in my sales manager office, or I have a great salesperson here, and I know that they're struggling, not because that they're not trying, but because of the way the conditions are.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I do everything that I can to keep this person
Yeah.
or this person
Yeah.
or this person, right?
Yeah.
So I think like it goes back to what you're saying. Like, what do we know? Well, we know people, and when I say people, we're not just talking about the people that are buying from us. Because one of the most impactful things that you've ever said to me, or to in our leadership meeting, is that like your customer as an operator
Yep.
is your managers.
Yep.
And your customer as a manager is your salespeople. And so like if we're talking about people and it's your job, you know that you've got, X guy in here that is just absolute killer. And we're in the month of November and it sucks. And you know that it sucks. How do you inspire this guy that you know is so critical to your organization to stay, to ride the wave, to weather the storm?
Well, you have to make sure they're successful.
How do you do that?
You do all the stuff we're talking about. Like I said, if there's a finite amount of buyers, there's 100 buyers in this market, and you need to sell 50. How do you take those 50 people from buying somewhere else to buy from you? Because the reality is, I don't care how good you treat that person. I don't care how much love you give them or pat on the back or great job. If that dude's not making money,
Paycheck.
he's going to go.
Correct. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about how you, and again, sorry to the competition, but, if you're...
Get on the bus.
Get
Come
on-
on, guys. Let's go.
get on the bus.
I love you 100%. If you're the competition and you're
Get on
listening
the
to
bus.
us, this is why we're giving it to you, because we love you.
Couple of things. Expand your radius. If you're only advertising within your PMA, and just a PSA, that's all your co-op programs are doing. If you're only advertising in your PMA, you better hope there's enough deals in your PMA to survive.
There's not.
But there's not, is the key. So what are you doing to go outside of your PMA, right?
Yeah. Because you're not, the industry or you as a dealer is not creating new buyers.
Correct.
There is a finite amount of buyers out there right now. And the reality is the best ones are going to get the most deals.
Well, that's another
Boom.
that's another segment that I do want to talk about, because I do think it's an opportunity. Like our motto: enthusiasts first, operators second, marketers third. And with enthusiasts first being the first thing that we look at, like I do think we have the ability to create new buyers through content, through experience, through the things that we love to do.
Yeah, but it's a small number.
Correct. It's not.
It's a very small one, like 100,000 people you're going to convert.
Correct. Well, it's
10,
like
maybe.
if you can, everybody watching this and everybody in this room would agree that
There's a lot of people in this room right now.
if we could say,
Un, deux, trois. That's all
we,
the French I know.
if we could create 3 new buyers in the month of November and sell them something, we would feel like that's
That's a win. That's a win.
That's
You're
a
right.
win.
You're not wrong.
That's
You're
a
not
win.
wrong.
And so, like,
But is that the focus?
No, and yes. No, in the sense that like it's knowing your focus, in the sense that like, okay, we thought the focus was going to be the low end buyer. We were wrong. Okay,
Because they can't get approved.
because they can't get approved. All right, but
That sucks. We'd have had 175 deals in November if we could
We
get them
would have
all
set a
approved.
record for the industry in November. If that was the case.
Goodness. So again, like, yes, I know that the focus needs to be the people that are going to move metal, if you will.
If you will.
But but also
Show plug.
I think it's a responsibility that we have, and I think it's a responsibility on this group, because we're good at what we do, is to go out and create new buyers and understand that, like,
Okay.
getting back
Okay.
to the basics
Okay.
of like, this product brings people together.
It does. Okay, let's go back to COVID. What happened during COVID?
People were bored inside their house; they wanted to get outside.
And it created a lot of new buyers.
Correct.
That's why we've seen explosion in the industry.
Yep.
So
Valid.
what were the benefactors that happened during COVID to create these new buyers? If that's your point, what happened?
Well,
People thought they were going to die.
that's I think that's more on the extreme part, but I think people were forced to stay inside of their homes, and they would do quite literally anything
Yep.
to get out.
Exactly.
What was the catalyst? Let's talk about a catalyst though. And this is why I hate talking about COVID in many regards.
Fear.
No.
No.
It was attainable. You know why it was attainable? the lenders thought they were just not going to lend any money. So what happened with the lenders is they said, you can get a fucking 30-year mortgage for 2.87%.
Yeah. But I would disagree because if you look at the programs right now, the manufacturers are offering. We have 0% for 60 months for qualified buyers.
Well, that's and the qualified
you
is
can't even you can't take it in. I mean, I'm with you, but I don't think the parameters were much different than they are now. I think there were more. To your point earlier, there were more of your middle to above average income and credit buyers that wanted to buy. So the bank was willing to say yes. They weren't buying 650s. They weren't buying 500s.
So that's where I think where my perspective is interesting, because I wasn't in power sports in that. I was in auto, which is a larger industry. And in auto, if you had a heartbeat during COVID.
No, that was not the case. You still had to have decent credit. There was more decent credit buyers and people that had some pent up money. If they had 50 grand saved up, they were willing to spend $30,000.
It's a thick file today, more than anything. But here's my point to that is like, bro, I hear stories of 730s, thick file, 60-year-old not getting approved.
When? Right now?
Right now.
Well, yeah, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah. Right now.
But I'm telling you, COVID
thick files.
COVID proved COVID proved a lot of things. It did prove a lot of things, and most importantly, I think it proved that fear is a huge driver.
100%,
because the people that were sitting at home were afraid of just sitting at home and having nothing to do.
Okay.
Right? People that were afraid they weren't going to be able to get a house because the housing market was getting ready to explode were willing to pay $100,000 over asking to get a house.
Yep.
People that wanted a Hyundai, which is what I was selling at the time, were willing to pay my $6,000 addendum plus pay whatever financing charge and whatever back end I wanted to charge them because they knew that I had sold to one car in the last 3 months consecutive. So they thought that if they were going to get one, they had to act now. So where that took the pressure off was the sales force. Because now I no longer have to be a salesperson. If you walk in, I'm pretty much betting that you are a deal.
You're an order taker.
And if you're not a deal, then I fucked something up.
Right.
Bad.
I don't want to segue into this just yet because I want to go back to something here. There's fear in the marketplace right now.
Correct.
There was fear in the marketplace then. This fear, COVID fear, motivated people to buy. This fear demotivates people to buy.
Motivates people to
not buy.
To not buy.
Right. So it's fear, but it's different fear.
Correct.
Okay. You know what? You say what you're going to say, but I've got a really interesting thought based off of what you just said. So, fear was weaponized by a lot of municipalities, right? There's a reason why we had to wear masks. You guys remember that?
I didn't wear a mask.
I didn't wear no fucking mask.
Fuck the mask.
There was a reason why there was a government list of businesses. There's a reason why the government it listed a list of businesses that they either deemed essential or not essential, right? That had
or
never
you could
happened
just be
before.
A rebel like us and just we're essential because.
So I guess my question is, and my thought based off of what you just said, is we all as humans to take this back to the core as people and understanding people, though. I know between us three, we don't generally consider ourselves fearful people. However, I do base the decision based off of making my mortgage payment off of the fear of what happens if I don't make my mortgage payment.
Facts.
Because if I knew that I could just slip a note for 3 months and there was going to be no penalty to me, you know what I would do?
I slipped that note.
I'd slip a note for 3 months, and there'd be no penalty to me. I mean, can you guys agree with that?
No, I don't.
Right?
I don't disagree.
So the fear doesn't necessarily it doesn't necessarily mean cowardness. It means sometimes understanding of consequences.
It's a realism.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but why were there no consequences during COVID?
There were consequences in COVID. And you know what the consequences of those COVID decisions made? A whole bunch of negative equity.
Oof.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's talk about some real consequences, because I know people
Yeah.
that are in cars that should be 3-year cars that are now 8-year cars. You know why? Because they financed 20% more than MSRP for 84 months. You know why they did? Because they had to, because the fear was they weren't going to have a car if they didn't.
Well, here's a interesting, and I'm not trying to call anybody out.
But he's
if-
about to call somebody out. Just wait. Just wait. He's about to call somebody out.
I'm going to ask you one question. Does 65% of our business, is it return business or is it not return business?
Right now, it's return business. During COVID, it was not.
Now,
That's a good point.
if you took advantage of COVID, overly, now I'm not talking about like getting what you deserve. I'm talking about literally putting people in bad situations that you knew were bad situations. If you are not reaping your 65% right now, guess whose fault it is?
Yours.
It's
because
yours.
you charge way more than you should have.
And I know
So
people,
they're upside down. They can't even trade.
Exactly.
Because you laugh at them. Ha, 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 ha.
I got
You
'em.
paid too much for that.
Dude,
I
I
can't
put-
believe you owe 20 grand on something that's worth 10
bro,
right now.
you should have seen I got $3,000 on freight on this thing.
You know
Yeah.
what? Guys, think about what you just said and the marketing conversations that we've had about people that are buying outside of their MOA.
Of their what?
Outside of their area, outside of their
Their PMA?
MOA.
Yeah.
PMA.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sorry.
Come on, Christian.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Christ is king. I had
So,
to get it in there,
do-
man.
Listen to
talk
what,
about
listen
the
to what I'm
Lord in
saying.
here.
Listen to what I'm saying. If you bought from a dealership in COVID and you feel like that you get ripped off, where are you not going to buy from?
Right there.
Right, but the problem is they didn't feel like they were getting ripped off.
Not then, but they do now.
Well,
know what I'm
so
saying?
that
Under the
my
realization
God,
now.
bro, I could go off on this shit right
It's
here.
a hot topic, and I don't think people are. When we're talking about like, what are the
I'm
consequences?
talking about an opportunity is what I'm talking about.
So what's the opportunity?
Talk to me.
The opportunity is to brand yourself as the person that person that they felt like got ripped off can go to.
Ooh,
Trust.
trust.
So if
So
65%,
we have $1,000 trade assistance
If
for your
60
$10,000 negative equity.
it's $1,000 they wouldn't have. And
Correct.
here's what I'll tell you. When you talk about lenders that are tightening up and another lender's told them, hey, I'm sorry, your negative equity is killing the deal.
Yeah.
But you're the one dealer out there saying, hey, I know that another dealer's told you that you got screwed on what you paid on this unit, but we've got a way to help you.
Yeah.
Who's going to get the lead?
That's very, very valid.
And
Very valid.
And to add
That's
on,
the thought.
Good point. Good
and
point.
to add on top of that, like if you're a dealer who either your deal average is struggling or you want more leads, like there may be an advantage to sticking your neck out to put an extra 500 or 1,000 in the trade. One, to get those customers who are seeking opportunity to get out of those vehicles, and then two, let's be honest about where our OEM markups are. If you want margin, where's the margin?
Hold back.
Well, if you want it 3 months from now, maybe.
Extra hold back. I got to jump
But-
through all the hoops,
Thank you,
man.
manufacturers.
Listen, if you want margin right now, where's your margin? It's in a good used product.
Trade, yeah. You're not wrong.
It's in a good
What's
use.
the number? That's what I was getting ready to say this. What's the number one thing that we lack at all three dealerships right
It's
now?
used inventory.
Used inventory.
Okay, and
What's the fastest turning inventory item that we have?
time out.
According to data.
Here's a moment that moves metal. Buy good inventory, used inventory,
Trades.
and selling at a reasonable price. And you're going to make money.
Yeah.
And it's going to
Some
be
of the best deals that we have done has been the skinny deals on the new unit to get the used unit at the right price to resell the used unit.
And I will also add that some of those deals have been the deals most questioned because of what was placed in the unit. That was the trade unit.
True. I have definitely questioned what you put in something.
Yeah,
100%.
and this is personal.
Hey, this
This
is a nice unit right here. What'd you put in it?
Yeah,
I put 20,000 in it.
shit.
Why? What's wrong with you?
yeah. No,
and
this
then
this is
3
real.
days
though.
later,
This
hey,
is
we
real.
sold that used unit
And made $3,500.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right,
So-
I'm gonna shut the fuck up
And
right
you
now.
don't have to wait
and
90 days
it's
to
not,
get it.
And it's to be fair though, it's not discrediting the knowledge to question the value.
Sure.
It's disacknowledging the credit of understanding the buyer.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, you gotta run that back to me, please.
That's because you're dumb. You can edit that out.
Don't be gay.
There it was. That's the first one. Okay, so
We
you get
we
what
have
I'm
no
saying,
hate
correct?
towards
Yeah,
gay
yeah,
people,
yeah.
by the way.
So if you have
we love you.
if you have
do.
5 out of 10 phone calls that come into a dealership, and this is a hypothetical, but it's actually probably close to an answer right now. But if you have 5 out of 10 phone calls that are coming into your dealership, and the first question out of that customer's mouth is, "Hey, what do you have used?" That is a sign of where your buyer is.
I just got off the phone with a guy today that was asking about something used. That's all he's looking for right now.
Well, shout out to, if I can give a quick plug, shout out to Jacob Berry and what they're doing with Moto Hunt. I think it's great. And one of his main topics over the past, honestly, from what I've seen over the past 3 months is managing used inventory.
Yeah.
And so what I want to hear from both of you is well, how do I find a good piece of used inventory? And what am I willing to pay for it? What do I sell it for? Because I think that's a lot of the skepticism in used inventory is what if I buy this thing at the wrong price and I spend cash on it because that's what you're doing.
Yep.
And then I sit on it for fucking 6 months, Because that's again, deep pockets is a luxury, right? We would agree on that.
100%. Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to have deep pockets to buy used inventory or trade for used
yes,
inventory.
you do. Mm-hmm. Unless you have a used floor plan.
Unless you have a used floor plan.
Yeah.
Speaking to lenders,
We need your used floor plan, please.
Anyways, talk to me about your guys' processes on buying good used inventory. And to be honest, I feel like within our 3 stores, just so you guys know you're not alone, I think we fell off on it. One of our staples in our advertising for 6 years has been what? A no hassle
to buy figure, yeah.
And-
but that worked really well during COVID because we could overpay for it.
But for different. Okay, so what I'm saying is it may work just as well now, but for different reasons.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? There's COVID market and then there's now market. The reason that it worked so well in COVID market because we could overpay.
But we could overpay because the previous markets showed that the customers that bought these units in 2016, 17, and 18 paid really cheap prices for it.
Okay.
And then the prices for those units skyrocketed during COVID, so we could almost pay them as much, if not more, than what they paid for it.
Okay, so
right now, what we're dealing with is people that paid way too much for it, and we want to give them this much less.
Okay, so
it's a whole different swing of offer. Yeah, you can raise your hand.
that was the first official hand raise on the Moving Metal Show. I
got one.
So I'm going to tell you
class,
something.
help
There
me.
are two things. There are 2 things that we're dancing around in that conversation that are the core of that conversation. What made you feel good about giving someone more than what you knew you should give them?
Sell it for more. The value went up.
Also, the book values.
The book value. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who dictates the book value?
J.D. Power.
J.D. Power and
And
Associates. Right?
Yeah.
Don't
So-
forget the associates.
Here's my point to this: is the book ahead or behind the customer?
Ooh, great question.
I'm going to give you the answer.
Talk to me.
The book is just like the lenders. The book is behind the customer. Because here's where they get their data from. 2 main areas. Number 1, what do they sell for wholesale at the auctions?
Okay.
2, what are the lenders financing on the unit?
Well, from my understanding, and this could be an ignorant thing, the lenders finance what J.D. Power says that it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Rough trade, clean trade, or
Here's
Retail.
Here's
Retail.
Here's where that's skewed. LTV is different per lender.
True.
So if you've got a lender that's willing to finance 120% LTV, this is getting real nitty gritty conversation. I hope you guys appreciate this. If you've got one lender that says I've got a open scorecard for a customer and I'm willing to lend 120%, and I've got 14% pull on what JD Power is looking at,
Yeah.
and they're financing all the deals, guess what happens to JD Power? It's worth more today. It's worth more tomorrow. It's worth more next week.
True.
It's worth more the week after. And guess what, guys?
Talk to me.
You put yourself in a situation where used inventory is more valuable than new inventory.
But
What we have not seen yet in the power sports industry is the book values associate with the people that are purchasing. What the people that are purchasing are telling us, if you get something and you feel like your gut, we've all got the spidey sense, right? We've all got the spidey sense that says that's too much for that thing, right? But then when you turn around 2 days later and sell that unit for a $3,500 profit, the customers are telling you something before the industry gets a hold of it.
Dude, I have a great example of this. Our guy out west, when we went out there.
yep.
A day before we got there, he bought a, I think it was a North Star camo, and he's the operator, and he put this much into it, and his sales guy came to him and said, "What are you doing? This is way too much. The book says this." Mr. Operator says, "Just watch." 4 days later, when we're on site, he sells it for, I think, like a $5,500 deal. So I think you're right in saying that, like, but how far are the books behind? Are they a month? Are they 2 months? How far behind the actual customer's perceived value?
Here's what I know.
Did that customer pay cash or finance?
I couldn't tell you.
Valid question.
That's a good question.
So-
because
So
Here-
did the
here's-
customer see the value in it, or did the lender see the value in it?
I would
Because if they financed, the lender saw the value in it.
Well-
to your point of what their LTV is.
I think it's the opposite. I think probably the
All-
customer saw the value in it. They wanted that unit, which goes back to our first part of the conversation of appealing to that 10%.
Yeah. Okay.
80% of our pre-owned deals over the last 2 months
Cash?
have been financed.
Yep.
So, and here's where I want to simplify this, and this might be a mic drop right here. Everything that we have spoken about is the customer comes first,
Sure.
always.
Sure.
They come first to the lender because it doesn't matter what lender program you have if they're not buying. It comes first to the pre-owned market because it doesn't matter what the pre-owned market is if you're not buying it. The new market, if you're not buying it, you see what I'm saying? Everything comes back. So how good are we as dealers to keeping a heartbeat on what's happening with our buyers? Because it matters
I
more.
think you're right, because we get so caught up in what does JD Power say, what does the
Yeah.
lender say, how much are we going to be able to sell this thing for based off what the lender is going to give for
Do
it.
we keep track? And this sounds retarded. Do we keep track of how many customers reach out to us saying, "Do you have pre-owned units?"
A lot.
Do we keep track of it?
No.
We don't. Do we keep track of how many customers call and say, "Hey, are you offering 1.99?" We don't.
We don't.
Well,
Do we keep track of customers that call in and say, "Hey, what's my trade worth?" Call in. I know we have the lead submission forms, but
Yeah.
the customers that physically reach out to us and say, "Hey, this is what's important to me." You know, the only reason that you reach out to anybody is because there's a hot button inside of you. That's the only reason you call.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not calling anybody unless there's something really important inside of me and I need an answer from them on what the answer to my question is.
True.
so maybe that's a good a new metric, if you will, that we should look at. Like, how many times does an individual call in and ask what their trade's worth, or to the dealership that we went today? Like, how much are we not on point with what we're doing inside of the marketing that appeals to like what we know that store does well with, and it's used inventory.
You're right.
Because they have 5 lines, but the reality is even when we were there, what did we make our money on, bro? It was used.
Yeah.
It was used units.
Yeah.
And so, like, maybe it's something that, hey, we're learning at the same time as you guys are. Like, that's why we're inviting you into this conversation. Like, maybe there's something in our DMS or CRM that we need to make note of. Like, how often does a customer, out of the if I'm tracking from the ads, how many of the 591 leads that we talk to, how many of them have a trade that they want to get into or
True.
get out of? How many of them are wanting a used piece of inventory and not a new piece of inventory? That would be a great indicator on how we shape our message. Because we shaped our message of that bottom 30% purely
Attainability.
off of like,
Yeah.
hey, here's what we think's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're not to be honest, we're not basing that off of any data. That's all off of like feel inside of the dealership. But if we added in these specific things and we say, hey, in November, we had 200 call-ins that were talking about either, hey, I have a unit to trade in, or do you have any used inventory? It would change the entire way that we structure what we did today, which is go through our entire ad library and say, fuck it, overhaul the whole thing.
Yep.
Right? Like we would have a different perspective on what we're bringing in there.
This is where fishermen get it right. You know what fishermen do? They don't theorize about anything. They go where the fucking fish are.
True. And
And
that's the question we're trying to answer during this podcast is where the fucking fish at,
Where are
man?
the
Where are the
freaking fish at?
Everybody's looking for the fish right now.
So-
We're talking about moving metal.
So here's the reality though, is are we, and I'm talking to us right now, are we willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do? And that's maybe track a different metric that's not been tracked.
It's such a small thing. Like, it's almost funny. It's like we're talking about this as if it's some like major idea. Well, let's have our sales guys ask about or track how many used units they're inquiring on or whether they have a trade on. But it's such a small moment that can move metal that has such a large
impact.
Yeah.
Here's my as I've graduated this thought. If I know that I've got 50 customers that are looking for a pre-owned piece, and I know that I've got a new unit deal that I wasn't able to come to just because of a trade value, how much more inclined am I to renegotiate that deal because I know that I've got a buyer for that pre-owned piece that I can then reach out to one of those 50 customers and say, hey, I know you said you wanted a pre-owned X, right, whatever, but you're going to have to pay this for it. Is that a number that you're willing to pay for it? Now, granted, Mr. Customer, I'm not going to sell you a unit that you've never seen, but what I'm telling you is if this unit meets your expectations, would you pay me X number?
This is
And that customer says, freaking, I changed my language, lootly.
Freaking.
Right? Now, does that give me the power as a dealer to go back to the new unit customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, guess what I just got? I've got a customer that wants your trade, and because of that, I'm able to allow you X number more than what I told you. So if I can do that within the next day, would that make this deal a deal?
Bro, you
Hold
definitely.
Yeah, you're striking gold right here. And here's what I'm saying is that like, is the COVID market more realistic to this market than it is to any other? I would think yes, because you want to know why? When we were
You have to shift it.
When we were in that dealership,
Parts of it, yes.
we did during COVID.
Yeah.
Exactly
that.
Exactly
that. You're
And
right.
put
You're
together
right.
Many deals that
deals.
way.
Yep.
Before we ever bought a unit,
We had it sold.
we had it sold.
Yep.
And so like the only difference is we're talking about an expanded market in terms of buyers, an expanded number of buyers versus a smaller market of buyers. But because it's almost swapped where we had little inventory to major inventory, but a lot of buyers, little buyers, how well are you curtailing these deals to be able to circle them back over here? So where we did it the opposite way, where what like bunch of buyers, little inventory, we had to make this match this to do the deal. Well, the path is the same. We're just doing it in the opposite direction.
Yep.
I think that may be the best thing you've said, not since just the podcast, but
Maybe in all time.
Maybe ever.
Maybe since
Yeah.
you've been since you've been doing this, is like, well, shit, are we missing the ball by just like reversing that process.
You know-
because I know that you were thinking the same thing that I was thinking when he was saying that. Like, fuck, we did that all the time.
So here's what I'll tell you in auto. I ran a whole campaign, and I worked with I don't want to put a name in there, but I worked with one of the largest auto owner groups in the nation. And I ran a campaign where I just called service customers. And I called those service customers and said, hey, this is Christian from X dealership. I just wanted to confirm your service appointment. And I also wanted to let you know I had a customer that reached out to me last night looking for a vehicle that was just like yours. So my question is, you're going to have it here for service anyways. Would you consider selling me that car?
Yeah.
Because if you are, I would love to take a look at it. Would that be okay with you? Guess what 99.99% of those customers said? Oh, really? Well, I'm going to be there anyway, so yeah, take a look at it. Throw me an offer. Here's what happened. Those customers that came into that dealership felt, number one, that they were very important, which what does that elevate? Customer experience.
Yep. And confidence.
And confidence. Number two, it put them in front of a qualified salesperson where they would have only been put in front of a qualified service advisor.
Yep.
Right? Number three ended in, well, here's the number that I'm willing to give you for your vehicle. However, if you sell this to me, do you need something else, or can you just deal with one less vehicle?
Yep.
Now.
So this is the basis of the premise of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, are we willing to do things differently than other people are willing to do them? Because here's what happened to me in that organization. That was outside of corporate guidelines, and no one should be able to sell this many cars just out of the sole service drive. So, Mr. Engel, we're going to need you to cease and desist from calling our service customers because we're not sure that you're providing the service level that they acquire.
Different button.
Yeah.
Nope.
Where's the button?
There you go.
Well, end of the day, I no longer work for that group. However,
Made you too much money.
However,
Sorry.
when you're willing to do things that people are not willing to do, guess who had never done that in that dealership? No one. There was an opportunity. Somebody was there to see the opportunity. Somebody executed on the opportunity, benefited from it, sold 19 cars in 1 month without taking an up.
So here's
and then got kicked out of the organization because it was too out of the organization rules.
I don't have any guidelines. If you want to do that, you call all those customers.
Here's-
and you sell
Hey, yo.
19 more
Here's
next
my
month.
point. Hey, if you're looking for a moment that moves metal, right here it is.
Right now.
If you know, like for us, we know that a cabbed utility unit is our highest selling model, right? Again, if we had 100 of them, we'd sell 100 of them.
Yep.
So what I want to do this week is our service managers, I need you to go through and I need you to pull every cabbed unit that we've worked on in the past 6 months.
I don't care if it's cabbed. If it's a
it
utility,
doesn't even matter.
If it's a utility side by side,
And I want you to call, I want you to have your service manager or whoever, have your sales manager, call them and pursue this exact angle. Hey, if they've been in for a service in the past month, you ask them how was their experience, and then you hit them with the, hey, blah, 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 blah. Would you like...
Yeah,
would
I
you
had
like me to
somebody
put a place?
inquire about
If
this
they're-
exact unit that you had.
If they're due for a
So-
service, great. If they're past due for a service, great. Doesn't matter what stage they're in, whether they bought 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. I would encourage everybody that this is a moment that moves metal. If you can call your most anticipated unit, your most searched after unit in your service department that's owned by a previous customer, you're not only giving yourself one opportunity to sell that unit to a new customer, but if that customer's already bought this new unit from you, you can get them out of that unit. Who doesn't want a new unit?
You know what the biggest problem with this is?
Talk to me.
It takes work.
Right. That's what I was going to say. So if we have a salesperson listening to this right now, how can they do that?
Well, what I would do, as somebody who's worked as salesperson, that's the only position that I've worked inside the dealership, is, and it depends on what you want, right? Like if all you ever want to be is a salesperson, maybe this is.
Maybe you want to be the best salesperson.
Maybe you want to be the salesperson.
Well, you can be a broker.
Or if you want to be, hey, I'm looking
Whoa.
to climb this ladder, and maybe I'm looking for a way to set myself apart. Go in, ask your service manager to pull you a list of the most sought after units that you sell on a monthly basis.
Well, your service manager wouldn't be able to do that. You'd have to have a good understanding of what you were looking for. But I think you utilize your service department and you go and find out what you have there right now that has a bill over $500.
Yeah, you could start with what's like sitting in
What's
your back
there.
lot,
Yeah.
and then you could go to like, all right, who's been in for a service in the past 6 months?
Hey, there's a wall that there's an elephant in the room here that we're not addressing.
Address it.
COVID, we keep talking about COVID. You know what COVID was? It wasn't yesterday. Our customers that are in this market have already been seasoned by COVID. They've already been told by multiple people, you are
4 years ago.
flipped.
Say that.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Those customers are already trained to think that they have no option.
Yeah.
They're already trained that way. You know why? They tried to get out year one. Guess what they were told year one?
Couldn't do it.
Sorry.
Couldn't do it. Sorry, the lender said you owe too much upside down. Sir, unless you have $25,000 down, there's no way to do a deal.
Wasn't me.
Right? Wasn't me. Right? Then guess what happened year two? They didn't understand what an amortization schedule was, and they didn't realize they were still paying the majority of their payment towards their principal. So now they think the interest. That's correct. Thank you. This is why there's three of us, not just one.
That's why we smart.
So
one of us are not smart. All of us are smart.
In each
hold
topic,
on. I see a black screen. That's not a good thing.
dude.
No. How
I've been
long?
watching it. Hold on.
Good, because I got to pee. All right. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. A couple of moments that move metal in this podcast. Hope you found them. Hope you implement them. If you didn't, tune in next week, I guess.
We'll do it.
Hit the button, man. Appreciate you guys for checking us out. Brandon Prokupek, Christian Engel, Brandon Pack.
Hey.
If you enjoyed the show, smash that subscribe button.
And
Just kidding.
share it.
Hit the like, hit the share. And if you don't, well,
You don't have to tune in next week.
you don't come back. But we appreciate you. I appreciate you two for being here, being a part of it. Thank you very much. Let's make it a great December, and we're on the way up, baby.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Let's do it.